Anyway, I'd like to start things off with the fact that we had a few events in 2020. And amongst those events, NJ Chris had his own pop-up shop. You'd like to talk about that, homie?
Yeah, that's a good place to start. It's really recent, like 2 months ago, end of
Yeah.
November. That event was crazy because I feel like it really unfolded in ways we couldn't predict. Like me myself and me through working with Reach, because like I was talking to, Reach Media's own Terry about the event in the beginning of November, about like doing an event in the next 3 weeks. And then just 1 week after locking it in, they changed like the new COVID guidelines saying that there's no more than 10 people allowed inside
Yeah,
the
that was
place.
a big restriction on stuff.
And
Yeah.
I was like, damn, like I'm trying to do a pop-up shop and have more than 10 people inside, obviously. So, it's like one of those obstacles that just makes you better though, because I had to like find a way to outwit that. So I took advantage of how Reach Media is, and it's like an indoor and outdoor place. So
Yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
okay, like I have more than 10 people in the vicinity, just 10 inside at a time. So from there was a point where I was gonna try to like schedule it like on some like have people like not RSVP but like let me know when they're coming so I know that there's gonna be more traffic around. But the way it unfolded itself, like people kept just coming at different times.
And it was a two-parter event, correct?
Yeah, it was 2 days back to back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, November 21st and 22nd. Yeah.
And how did the first day go and how did the second day go for you?
Second day was smoother. I guess the first day was kind of like I don't know how to explain it. Like I wasn't really nervous about it, but I just like didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And it was like a little slow at first, but then towards like the middle of the hours of the event, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But anything that happened the first day definitely helped like the greater success of the second day.
And the
Then,
second
like,
day is when the
I
bag
guess
got
I think
picked
people
up.
like on social media were just seeing like what it was like, and they like felt like they missed out on stuff. So I was like, hey, like it's still a second day, and I had held out on some stuff too though. Like I didn't like put like all my eggs in the same basket for the first day. So
that looked like a very.
so I gave people like a lot of hope for the second day, and the second day was really nice.
On some North Hudson shit.
Yeah.
What is your take on Bergen Line Avenue, like as it means to you? Who'd like to go first on that one? Would like to go first, Diego?
I got you. Because when I first came here, my father, so I started off doing stuff with my father. I practically worked for him because he started a business here, working for DirecTV, and I just remember just waking up, packing the tent inside. We packed the tent literally inside the car, and we just drove from wherever, and we just pop up anywhere up on Bergen Line. And then I would just help him just pass out flyers, and then he would do all the talking, trying to sell the product. But like I've been doing that for like many years. He would send me personally because he didn't have anybody else. He was like, hey Diego, just grab this whole stack of flyers
and just like prospect and just toss them
pass
out.
them to people, give them to everybody, houses, cars.
That's like such a cultural thing
business.
for Bergen Line.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm not doing anything right now. So yeah, sure, I'll do it. So I've been walking down like from 46 and down all the way up to freaking like the most 15th Street, and then back up all the way to the point of Fairview, I think.
Yeah. That's where Bergen Line goes up to.
Yeah.
It's crazy how like precise it is. Literally it's like almost a 90 block market, and it literally goes right through it, like right through North Hudson. Nothing else, nothing less.
Yeah, so
it's pretty crazy. How about you?
The only reason I had the concept of starting a label was to make it communal in the first place, where I had the foundation to do my own thing and market my own thing, but it also encompassed everything I was trying to do outside of that.
Yeah.
I'm a musician that wants to work on my own stuff and also wants to work with other people. I'm inspired by people that do that,
of course,
that have done that. So because of that, I wanted to lay out a foundation that was solid for every aspect of that intention.
Okay.
And a label is the perfect thing.
And I know you guys are more or less the initialization of that, but around when did you start identifying as, and when did that like really start off for you?
For both of us?
Yeah, like when was the name something that you guys decided to go by, and when did it actually start becoming?
When he presented the name as something that resonated with that intention.
Okay, time-wise.
Which is what I was, which is what I was gonna elaborate on right now. shrimp, prawn in general, shrimp, they're kind of like correlated. Like there's a that's what I kind of like about the term too. Is like most people could confuse a prawn with a shrimp.
Okay.
You know, so like there's kind of like that whole, for lack of a better term, punk rock thing to it, where it's like, oh yeah, like it's just a shrimp, but it's not that. It's a prawn.
So
Like
it's like
like if you see it at face value,
Like
it looks
yeah.
like shit, but it's not. You know, like the reason he presented the prawn is because he was like,
Like an
okay,
underdog
what
vibe.
what you're trying to do here is like an individual thing that is a part of a communal aspect, where
Mhm.
like individuals help each other.
Mhm.
You know, artists, this, that, and third. That's how a label works. That's how a prawn community works.
So it's like an embodying based off of like a let's call it an organism's way of being.
yeah, and,
Okay.
yeah, exactly, and
Yeah.
they kick ass actually.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
if you look into like a lot of different species of prawn, especially the I think it's called a praying mantis prawn. They like fight each other hard fucking core. They have like claws kind of like lobsters, and they fight each other hardcore, but they don't fight each other in a way that where they kill each other. Like they never fight each other. Like let's say they're fighting for the sake of like winning over a female. They never kill each other for the sake of not killing their species.
Oh,
Like it's like a higher level of thinking.
that's interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's what
So
that's
what inspired the whole.
yeah,
That's
like
interesting.
at first, like when he presented it, I was like, I don't know
about
that.
prawn dog. Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, I was like, yeah, but that's so underdog though. You know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like who the fuck rocks a shrimp right now? You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, I've
or like a prawn rather,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
like
yeah.
that's what it is. But
yeah.
you know, people associate with that, and like especially with regards to like our inception and whatnot and our beginnings, I would
Mhm.
love for people to feel like we're just like some
Prawn.
weak ass shit, you
Yeah,
know, like
it's-
for them to be surprised, you know, like
It's
because you be like what he was trying to say, Drew with Andrew rather,
Mhm.
with presenting that as our symbol was
Mhm.
that they work as a strong unit together.
I see.
They're weak as a single,
Yeah.
but they work as a strong unit.
It's like the
together.
best way of being independent or startup.
Yeah, exactly.
as-
Like this whole label thing had nothing to do with me as much as it had to do with satisfying my intentions as a creative.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It was more like, okay, if I'm trying to work with other people, I want to set the foundation for them too.
Yeah,
you know,
valid.
like not just musicians, but also artists, also people like you. Like, hey, like we're shouting out an event coordinator. You know,
Mhm.
we're shouting out a graphic
perfect,
designer.
It's perfect for networking, you know.
Exactly,
all aspects of it,
exactly.
yeah. So right here next to me, I have this book of yours, El Joven Soñador.
Yes, I actually am Spanish speaker for everyone out there. I believe you can notice it on my accent.
Yeah, I'm fluid. So if you break into Spanish, I'm not gonna be like, wow, I'm white.
So yeah, so I actually this El Joven Soñador, which is as many of many of my followers know, this is my book. So
Mhm.
here's the story behind this book. You and I went to the same high school, so
Yeah.
you can actually know that they have a really strong Latino presence.
Of course.
And we have an amazing, and I say amazing because I really mean it, Spanish department,
yeah,
right?
of course.
So-
if we have anything,
I know.
I'd have to be the Spanish department, right?
Right. And what happened was I used to love to write in Spanish, and I had this teacher that she was my Spanish teacher, and she is her father is was a very notorious person down there in West New York. Her name was Manito. We have a street with his name. It's
Yeah.
big guy over there.
Yeah.
From the 80s. He was stand up guy. And she told me, hey, why don't you come and write something about my dad? You know, it was gonna be something about his life. He's done
His
all these
legacy,
things,
yeah.
right? And we're gonna give it to him as a birthday gift. So
Okay.
I meet Manito, and we have all these great interviews. I start writing about him, but unfortunately, that very same year before we published the book, we actually, it was not meant to be a book. Before we give this to him, he passed away.
Wow.
So the family came up to me and he told me, hey, if you think that we can make a book out of this,
That
we'll
would work,
finance
yeah.
it. And I was like, well, you know what? I've never written a book before, but what the hell, fuck it. And we'll do it. And that's how the idea started. It took me 2 years after that to actually write the whole book because I have to go back. And when that happened, I didn't even have the whole story down yet. So it was a whole process. It took me about 3 years, but it got published in 2017.
Wow.
And it's been one of, I'm really proud of it, and it made me grow a lot,
Yeah.
especially my writing in Spanish. I believe
Yeah, I can imagine.
that is worse now because English is kind of taking in.
over. Yeah,
Yeah.
English has a habit of doing that too,
Mhm,
especially like with anything that comes from culture.
But you know, the reason why I love that book is because, especially that story, is because this guy really can show you, you know, what somebody that comes from nothing can
Mhm.
actually do, and
Yeah,
and that's the
yeah.
story. And it starts talking about me, then he switched to talk about him,
Mhm.
and then it's me, you know, the funeral and everything. So it's kind of a dual reality in between what the
it's
new
a very
generation can
surreal
do.
place to be in.
Right, but
Wow,
the
that's
generation
awesome.
can do, you know, and we always tend to remember the old days as better days, but we don't realize that
It's
the
just
reason why we remember that kind of things is because the good things are the only things that we remember.
Yeah, it's
So
nostalgia.
you know, now we have just the same opportunities, it's just a matter of doing it. You know?
valid. On this Sunday, which is literally tomorrow for us, right?
Yeah, tomorrow we have our art gallery at Cafe Maria in
Okay.
Union City that I've been helping to curate.
Word, word.
It's like 6 artists, local
Okay.
artists from Union City or Hudson County that are showing.
That's
like
good.
the theme is Amor.
Amor, right? Love,
For
right?
Valentine's.
Yeah.
Nice.
Valid. And we have one here in the storefront and one in Cafe Maria, correct? The
Yes.
extension.
Yeah, so it's gonna be from 9 to 4 p.m.
9 to 4 p.m. Cool.
The art show tomorrow, and then 2 to 3:30 is our reception where our artists are gonna come and like mingle or whatever.
Yeah, valid.
And then we have the show here at the storefront at 6. or
That's good.
7.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So essentially, you're going to be focusing on those things, and are you going to be presently available for all the days, or what specific days will you be presently available?
I think I'm just there tomorrow and
Mhm.
next weekend.
Okay, cool. So you're going to be the start and the finish. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah,
know we're all
basically.
hacky sacking responsibility on that regard.
Yeah.
Personally, I know I'm going to be there Wednesday. I was going to be there Tuesday, but I have another podcast to record, so yeah, valid.
I'm just trying to
Essentially,
work around it.
I hope it goes on well. Anyways, so that being said, we could definitely go into depth on that later on. But I'm gonna give you a little bit of spotlight, Domenica. Can you please explain to us? And I also wanted to know like where you got your craft from, like
Yeah.
what's your
Oh,
mediums,
yeah.
and then also like if you
Yeah.
have like an origin story, or if you just picked up a pencil or paint. Brush
yeah,
one down.
basically the same thing. I took
Raw?
my first art class senior year. I took a painting class, and I was like,
Nice.
okay.
This be hitting. This be hitting.
Yeah,
This
I was
works.
like-
This works.
I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
So, and I wasn't even like interested in art that much back then. So I was like doing human services and like, I wanted to be a chef at one point. Like I've just been like throwing
That- I
shit
mean, that's
around.
an
like-
art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I burnt the chicken and it just did not work.
You're like, never mind.
This is not
Okay,
for
this
me.
is my craft.
Yeah. I was like, I'll stick to the paintbrush.
Okay, valid.
But yeah, and then I went to Hudson Community College and
Mm-hmm.
I did computer arts / fine arts there. So
Nice.
I took a few art classes there, but it wasn't like what I wanted to do, honestly.
Mm.
Computer arts, like I mentioned earlier, I'm terrible
Yeah,
at
technology.
graphics
I mean, at
and
least you
stuff.
tried it.
I
so.
tried it, yeah. I was like, let me go where the money's at, but like I really
didn't kick
wasn't
in.
for me.
Valid. I personally want to get back on the blacksmithing thing.
Okay.
Like I know nothing about blacksmithing.
Yeah,
like
me
my
either.
rendition of
I was kidding,
my
like, what is
rendition of
that?
blacksmithing is like Skyrim and like just like making a fucking sword. So can you
Yeah.
please elaborate like some little bit detail about the process you go by? Because that sounds so interesting.
Yeah, sure. Okay, well, just like you, I didn't know anything either,
Mhm.
but I had a great mentor. His name is Seth Gold. You
Nice.
can find him on Instagram. He's very popular in the blacksmithing
Do
community.
you know his handle by any chance?
Yeah, I believe it's his name.
Seth Gold.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Shout out
Seth
Seth
Gold.
Gold. That's Seth Gold. All right.
Yeah,
Continue.
he's pretty valid in the whole community and whatnot. He definitely walked me through it. But yeah, there's you gotta have your gloves. A funny experience actually that I had in my first day, blacksmithing, working with iron was that obviously you heat up your piece of metal. But first you gotta start a fire basically. So you get you crunch up like a newspaper and you set it on fire. You throw it in like kind of like a not like a kind of like a bin. Let's call
Okay.
it a bin. And then you put a coal on top of it, and there's like a leather that like you gotta like pull down that releases air, and that I guess chemistry starts happening where like the coal catches on fire, dealing with like the wind that's going through, and it starts like it has a steady fire going. That's
Okay.
where you place your
Smeltable
Yeah,
ore or whatnot.
your metal, your iron. You can literally melt any iron. There's not a specific iron you can't melt. At a
Valid.
certain degree, every piece of iron melts.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So then you place it, you take it out, and then I forgot what it was called. vial, one of those. So
Okay.
you place the metal on the vial.
Is
vice.
it something that like grips it? Like, is it something that grips it, or is it something that like contains it?
No. So there's
like a placement?
different. Yeah, it's a
Okay,
placement.
okay.
Of course, dealing with like gripping, there are like utensils you use to like carry the iron
Okay.
from the fire over to like where you can
forceps
place
kind of.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then like once you could only hit it when it's like bright red. If it starts getting like a dark red, it's better to like not hit it, because if not, because if you don't, then overall, like when you're done with everything, the probability of the iron breaking in half is like major. So like I said, funny story. I was like, Seth, like, what do I do? Like, it's hot. Where do I hit it? He goes, oh, hit it right there. Once you hit it there, it's gonna bend. He goes, like, hit it hard. So then I was like, shit, okay. So, boop, nothing moves. It was just like the same thing. I was like, wow, this is embarrassing.
Clink.
Yeah, and he was like, you gotta hit it harder. But, you know,
Start is a start, man.
yeah, pretty much. It got to the point where I was hitting it, you know, because obviously you got to fail a couple times before you get better.
Yeah, it happens with anything.
Yeah, it got to the point where I wasn't hitting it hard enough that my hands started to like swell, and I was getting like blisters all over my hands. I had to wear gloves. Like I had like my first day, my first week actually, I had like a whole bunch of bandages on my hand because of how badly I hurt myself. But yeah, it's definitely a craft you really should get mentored by. You can't just walk into it.
You can't. You'll burn the crap out of yourself. Waste
like,
material.
if you don't know what the fuck you're
Probably
doing.
set a fire.
Yeah, pretty much. If you don't know what you're doing, then forget about it.
Then met Homeboy and the crew that he was rocking with.
Oh,
You know.
alright.
Yeah, you know, and then from there, working on a couple videos, and that's like kind of what got me into the video department.
And
at
what
that
was
point.
the first music video you worked with on Cosmic?
The first music video was Case Closed.
Case closed. Really?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this is true.
That was the
Okay.
very first one.
Case
I
Closed.
believe that's still up on my page. on my YouTube.
What year was that? Was that like
That was like
18?
no, that wasn't
2019?
2018. It was 2019. Yeah.
19? Okay.
Like early 19,
Yeah.
late 18.
Yeah.
Word.
But yeah,
So it
that
was
was
a while
cool.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a funny story behind that video too.
Okay.
Um,
Share that, please.
Yeah.
Kinda girl.
We were actually it was like what 10 p.m. or like not even like 8 p.m.
I think it was later because there
10
was nothing
later?
open but Americana.
Oh yeah. So it was probably like I'm gonna say like 11, 12 at night, and we were like just hungry, so we headed to Americanas, and that was like the only place open at the time. So I rode my bike, he skated, and then we got there, we're ordering the food, and Cosmic's like, "Yo, let's shoot," and I'm like, "All right," and mind you, I think we're like about to shoot pictures or something, and we ended up taking video, and then video after video. While we were waiting for the food, we ended up shooting a whole music video.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
like such an impromptu thing to work on.
Literally, yeah.
was
Funniest
really fun.
thing.
Oh my
I
God.
picked the song and everything too. I just I was like, oh, this one sounds fire. Let's do this.
Yeah, I'm glad. Personally, although we've had like little crossovers where I've had an event and you've been there to shoot some things and all that. We haven't ever actually like one-on-one worked on anything specific. I know we had a little bit of like a detailing on like a documentary idea that I've had a lot on the back burner. Like, how about you? What's in your back burner? Obviously, you got the Cosmic Week going on.
Yeah.
But what else do you have going on? If there's anything else.
Yeah. So the vlog,
Mm.
fashion show / clothing release again because I haven't been selling clothes for a while.
Okay.
People are getting upset, but it's
Yeah,
like
it's a fire
build
fucking
up.
brand.
Yeah, build up. I appreciate it. This is like
That shit looks.
this is the sloppy version though. This is like the experiments. And
I mean,
stuff.
it looks lo-fi, and I fuck with it nonetheless.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
But independency has been on my mind recently.
Okay.
Yeah, just be independent and make sure that like you're doing things. Cause that sounds mad cliche. Do what you want to do. Like I wake up and like smoke a blunt before I brush my teeth because like I rather like
Yeah.
brush my teeth after that,
Yeah,
and
of
I'm
course,
gonna
yeah. That's
yeah.
valid. I do that too.
Yeah, and I might want orange juice, and then I might like text a female, or I might, and like the point is, I live exactly how I want to live. So there's no like people watch like reality shows or whatever the case. It sounds so ranty, but it's so true. Like just because the motivational speaker you listen to wakes up at 7 a.m. and grinds doesn't mean that
you
like
necessarily got to do that.
you
yeah.
could wake up at 8 p.m. and become who you need to be. It's like live how you want to
yeah,
live.
Yeah. I'm a very big freedom person as well.
Yeah, man.
Right before we go about finalizing things, I also wanted to like address this now because I feel like we haven't been in communication about it. Documentary idea. I haven't been too focused on it because I've had a few derails on different projects that I've been working on. But since you came over to my place when we had that little networking meeting with John Argetta, who I had on the last podcast actually, I got to talk with him and all that. We basically went on the discussion for trying to formulate a documentary. And just to give it some kind of, I guess, a start-off promotional effort here on the podcast, I suppose, the documentary was something that we were thinking about doing basically to try and put Hudson County artistry and local collectives on a map, as opposed to just kind of being like, everyone who knows about it. Like, I know we all know Kibo Hidi, that's valid, but like, will there be a documentary on him? Is that up to us? I feel like it should be at some point, So essentially, So essentially, Jeremiah and I, we've been working on, although we haven't worked on him very much yet, we're crunching on the idea of collecting members of that we consider, whether it be our generation, maybe a little younger, maybe a little older, of people that we consider to be like in the woodworks because there's so much media out there, and New Jersey isn't given the credit it's given. It's mostly going to be Hudson County focused, I believe, right, Jeremiah? That's what we went
exactly,
on? Yeah. So you can look out for that as well, although it's going to be a long process, but that's also on the back burner for us. Anyways, guys, thank you for joining us again on this podcast. Everyone, please say goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye. Thank you for having me.
Wash your hands before you go to the bathroom because they teach you to do it after, and that's not hygienic. Wash your hands before you touch your genitalia.
Yo, let me learn that one. That's crazy. All right, take care.